think that we're ready to go, guys. Oh wow, that's scary, contrasting. Alright. Is it too loud? Can you guys hear when you're open?
Do you want me to go closer?
Alright, so thank you for attending. I know it's kind of early, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have busy days ahead of you. Who am I? If you don't know who I am, from a professional level, my name is Meagan. I'm the community manager, and communications manager at Crystal Dynamics out of Redwood City. So I get to work with the Tomb Raider franchise right now, which is very exciting. I'm also a former associate editor at Game Informer magazine, so gaming is kind of my life. But then I also really love cosplay. It's hard to fit it in with such a busy schedule, but it's something that I very much enjoy and I'm passionate about. And even though I'm not at Game Informer anymore, I actually still do the weekly cos blog at Game Informer where I highlight costumes from around the world and interview the cosplayers, and it's a lot of fun. I studied graphic design and journalism and mass communications at the University of Minnesota, and when it comes to cosplay, I actually put a very, very strong emphasis on photographing professionally my costumes. I think it's kind of, if I had a trademark, I guess it would be kind of that, like I really invest a lot of time into finding the perfect location and the perfect talent to work with and casting extras and whatnot. And that's kind of one of my things. So here you can see the cosplay of Game Informer. Check it out, feel free to submit your costumes. And then I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of my shoots so that you guys kind of have an idea of reference when I'm discussing. So that's my Princess of Persia, Madame Mirage, Poison Ivy, Aphrodite 9, I'm really big into AV comics, Mad Moxie, and then Anya Stroud, Catwoman, Lady Vixella, and Lady Two-Face. This one's very exciting. This is one that we just took last weekend, and we're wearing this. Linda, Lee, and I have committed we're putting this on in a couple of hours here. It's probably going to take a couple of hours to put on also. So, a disclaimer, this session is to provide information on how to network and begin collaborating on free trade photography, mostly through time for print and time for CD. This session is not intended to prime you for engaging in like commercial or fashion modeling. There is going to be a little bit of overlap in early stages, so some of the advice actually can be helpful if that's something you want to pursue. But like I said, it's mostly looking for like the collaborative free trade modeling. So if you are looking to break into commercial or fashion modeling, I think it's actually probably easier and faster to consult an agency, and you can find one in your area through a simple Google search. So we'll have some time for questions at the end, a chance to finish a bit early. So if you finish early and you guys just want to come up to me and talk cosplay and troubleshoot some costume ideas that you guys have, I'm totally up for that. I also have a signing session. Is it at 1 to 2? Yes. 1 to 2 with Linda, and you can talk cosplay there too also. So my reason for putting such an emphasis on cosplay photography, a lot of people ask, is it really worth it? Because sometimes it takes months of planning to put together these shoots. And in my opinion, it absolutely is. Your costumes usually take months and months and months to put together, and the financial investment is so incredible most of the time. So I feel like you do yourself a disservice if the only thing you put out there is like a blurry con running snapshot. You know, like you want to show off your work. I want to see your work that you work so hard on. Like I want to see it also. And so I think it's very rewarding to have something professionally photographed. And it's really fun actually. The process is just as fun as the end result, because you get to play creative director, right? You get to scout locations, you get to pick your makeup artist that has the best fit, you get to find photographers that have the right style, you get to talk about post-processing, like should we play up these colors or should it be this mood? And it's actually a really fun and creative process. And it also gets you out to experience new things, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but I've done some really weird stuff for cosplay shoots, and it's fun. You get out and you try things that maybe you wouldn't have and go places that you wouldn't have a reason to otherwise. So as far as my personal modeling exploits, just to kind of give you an idea of how I started, I tried my hand at some commercial modeling in college to try to make a little bit of extra cash. I really had no knowledge of the industry and what I learned on America's Next Top Model, which turns out is actually not that accurate. So I used my graduation photos to start an online portfolio and began trading time with new photographers and training makeup artists and whatnot to build up my portfolio. And then over the next few years, I did a couple of small commercial gigs, just all Minnesota market, nothing too big. So like handbags, belts, accessories, did hair shows, which are terrifying because they can do whatever they want to your hair. Expo work, runway events, and even a mascot escort gig a couple of times, which means that you walk around like a giant Care Bear and make sure nobody mauls them or they don't trip. So weird stuff, but it was fun. And eventually I kind of realized that commercial modeling wasn't that interesting to me. Like I always knew that I wanted to actually have a career in gaming, so the modeling was just kind of a side project for fun. And so I started to take that role as the art director, creative director, and the shoots, the collaborative ones, started to become more and more thematic. And that was kind of my first foray into cosplay. Before I knew what cosplaying was, I was just like, hey, this photographer wants to get work together, what should we shoot? And then I would end up shooting, like, I want to be Wonder Woman, I want to be Lara Croft, and they didn't know that it was a thing. So, you can see there, my first attempt at cosplay was the DC. I just bought the Wonder Woman costume out of the bag, didn't do anything to it, didn't even bother with the tiara. That's like, that makes me sad. And then my first Lara Croft costume, which now I work on the game, and that's even more embarrassing because I'm like, oh, I don't think I've even shown fans that, but they can find it if they wanted to. So that's just to show you a little bit of progression. Those were my first couple of shoots maybe 6 years ago. So the big question, am I model material? If you're questioning whether or not you want to pursue professional photos because you're not sure if you're model material, I say don't question it. There's an audience and photographer for everything out there, whether it be like certain body types, hairstyles, or clothing preference, or piercings, or tattoos. There literally is an audience and photographer for everything, and you definitely need to focus on your strengths instead of your insecurities. Cosplay is especially attracted to photographers because a lot of photographers do wedding photos and they do family portraits, and so they are eagerly looking for something that's outside the box that can be really creative. So photographers a lot of times on these networks that I'll talk about really love to shoot costumes. So this is kind of the crux of the presentation. What is TFP/TFCD? So you need to understand that in order to start collaborating. Basically, it's a creative collaborative trade of skills that allows everyone to barter with their time instead of with money. So everybody brings their skills to the table, everybody gets something out of it, everybody has the same say. So it literally means time for print or time for CD, although time for print is kind of dated because photographers don't say, here's your photos, your 8x10s, they give you digital at this point in time. So the best way to start developing your portfolio through this practice is to use online portfolio and networking websites to find photographers. You can even find makeup artists, hairstylists, clothing designers, jewelry designers, body painters. Like you can find every skill set is pretty much available throughout these networks, and so it's a really, really great way to find interesting people to help make your costume the best that it can be and make the presentation the best can be. So the reasons that people do time for print and time for CD is because portfolio development is usually first and foremost. Student photographers, like I said, trading, makeup artists, hairstylists, beginner models, they all don't have very good portfolios. So a lot of times, if you're new, you'll attract new photographers and new makeup artists, and you all just kind of grow your portfolio together. These may not yield photos that are ready to be in vogue quite yet. There's a progression, and eventually you'll be able to work with better photographers. This is a great first step to building up your portfolio. And a lot of times these will take place at schools or outdoors because these people are new and they don't necessarily have their own studio. Sometimes they'll take place at homes, and we will talk about safety later. Like I said, because they don't have access to individual studios at that point. Concept execution is another reason that people will trade for free. If you even have like a really established commercial photographer who does tons of work, even for like Target, they, again, like I mentioned, they might be willing to work for free if they have this fantastic, wild idea that they've always wanted to shoot. So again, they may, unique makeup artist may have a dream photo shoot that she or he have always wanted to do. And so they may be willing to work for free, or sometimes, and this is a big, like this is an if, they may even be willing to pay if you are like the perfect fit for their portfolio. So it's really important to keep your eye on casting calls and the websites that I'll talk about in a bit. So again, cosplay is really, really awesome in this regard because people want to shoot outside the box. So follow, if you network on Model Maker or One Model Place, follow photographers and makeup artists that you want to look for, you want to work for, and look at their casting calls, look at what they're looking for. They may be willing to make an exception to shoot you for free so that they can achieve the shot that they've been wanting to do forever. Test shoots is another reason that photographers will do time for print. This is very established photographers who may not otherwise give you the time of day, but they will sometimes make exceptions if they are testing out like a new camera or a new lens or a lighting setup or a new technique, and they literally need someone to sit in front of the camera. I've done this before. I did this with a photographer who does crazy high fashion, And I didn't get any photos from it, but I met someone that I otherwise wouldn't have met. We ended up moving, so we didn't get to shoot together after that. But it was a chance for me to network, to meet someone that was kind of out of my league, to be honest, and to make connections. That's another reason that people trade time. And then there's also just passionate people that just love to collaborate, and they just never charge. I'd like to think I fall into this category because I would never, some models do obviously charge for their time. Modeling is a profession. I would never charge anybody. I don't ever plan on charging anybody. It's just a collaboration. It's fun. I love doing it. And you can sometimes find photographers that are just the same, that they have full day jobs, that they just love to shoot photos. There's actually a lot of cool photographers at the convention that are like that they just love it. So if you can find one of those people, hang on to them. They are fantastic. I had a photographer that did my shoots for maybe 4 years out of the 5 or 6 that I've been doing this, because we just both loved working on these creative projects. So getting started. The best way to get started is to create an account on either, I recommend Model Mayhem or One Model Place. These are both ones that I've used before. There are other services out there, but I tend to feel that they're a little bit more commercial, good looking for money. And there are premium upgrades to these sites, but I think these two are the good ones. I would not bother with a premium portfolio at the moment. Especially if you don't have any pro photos, 5 photos that just represent you well, I think are just fine. And later on you can upgrade if you want to, but I've never done it. I have the basic free portfolios on most of the sites at this point. So you want to populate your portfolio with flattering snapshots, con photos that show off your craftsmanship and work. And remember to keep your account updated if you drastically change your physical appearance, like change your hair, which I guess doesn't matter as much for cosplayers, right? Because we're always wearing wigs. So, but that's just something to keep in mind, because photographers sometimes don't like the discrepancy if they think they know what you look like, and realize that there's a big difference now. So on your portfolio, you also want to summarize your aspirations as a model, include that you're interested in time for print and time for CD. I think both of them give check boxes for the type of work that you're looking for, whether it's free, depends on assignment, time for print, whatnot. And if you do want paid work, you can indicate that you want it. I think both of the sites have filters that look like if someone's looking only for trade, it would exclude you if you say paid work. So it might actually be in your best interest to just leave time for print at this point in time. Once you make your portfolios, don't sit back and wait. You could get a few bites, but be proactive, browse talent, find people that have like-minded interests. Take a look at casting calls, connect with them via messages, and just share your creative vision and put something out there saying, this is what I want to do, who's interested? I mean, you can also make casting calls, casting for photographers and casting for makeup artists. And with a new portfolio on both these sites, and this happened to me, you'll often get people, I think they can search by new accounts. So a lot of times you'll get offers within the first couple of weeks from photographers who are offering like a paid package deal. It's up to you if you want to do this. Sometimes it's usually about like $300 for 2 or 3 hours, but they get your headshot, they get your full body, they style you and provide a makeup artist and hairstylist and whatnot. And like I said, it's not free, but if you're looking to expedite the process, or if you are looking to potentially bring something to an agency, it's a way to get it underway quicker. And it guarantees that it's expedited and that you get a level of quality that would be needed for portfolios. So this is One Model Place. Just the front end, so you can see, you can browse, you can look at casting and photographers that will be traveling to your area. There's a forum, lots of contests. And you can see all of your stuff, also get notes. It's very much a social network. And this is my portfolio, so you have all your stats on one side, and my bio is very truncated right now because I updated when I moved and haven't touched it since. And this is One Model Place. I actually think it's very poorly designed and hard to use, but the network is pretty huge, so it's very valuable. And the profiles are ugly as heck. But this is an example of one of the pages that you can fill out. So it asks, are you interested in fashion? Are you interested in runway? And you click all the things that you're interested in, you put in all your stats, additional skills like I can sing, I can dance, in case people are looking for video work or whatnot. So it's actually, there's a lot of different fields that you can fill out to really tailor searches for when people are looking for you. So, safety first. This is something I'm really going to stress. If you're interested in starting to shoot, you always have to be very, very careful about letting anybody you work with. You are absolutely, without a question,